fake religions. And the reason why Jesus can't be mentioned in so many industries, such as the music industry, is because of
Whoa.
self-help books don't exist.
Self-help isn't a thing.
No.
How are you going to tell me all these kids die like within the same few days? And he's like, yeah, Lord, I trust you. Thank you, God. That's nuts.
Naive for us to think that it was actually 7 days. Now, this could be 700 days, 700 years. It could be anything, right? But what happened before Adam and Eve?
Why did God ask Moses to raise his hand so he could part the Red Sea? God can do it regardless of whether Moses raises his hand or not.
So that bread was no longer needed anymore. But God will always provide exactly what you need.
It's like, yeah, I love you. Don't do that.
Because it is the one true religion. He's the one true God.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome back to
The Grow Club with Jasmine and Mike.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, I switched it up for you this time, man.
Okay, thank you.
You know, sometimes it's important to allow others to go ahead of you. It's called selflessness.
I love that selflessness.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to be more selfless. But
That was very selfless. Thank you. Anyway,
anytime. Welcome to this podcast. Welcome to Grow Club. If you're new here, this is a platform for people with a growth mindset, people who are trying to get better in all aspects of life. And this is where we discuss conversations about growth in general. So that could be mindset, that could be faith, that could be business, that could be relationships, that could be fitness, that could be anything that grows.
Anything that grows.
Anything that grows. But yeah, so it is episode 11. And first off, I'll start with asking my co-host how she's doing today.
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Then I'll
Great start.
Hey, Moses stuttered.
That's true.
And look what he did.
That's true. We're going to talk a lot about the Bible today. Very fitting.
Next, I'm going to say, how are you guys? I hope you guys are doing well, feeling well. I hope you guys are having a blessed week. Make sure you click like, subscribe, all of that. But, you know, at the end of the day, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
So,
boom.
Just before we came on air, you said there was something you learned today.
Yeah.
In regards to, it was a Bible quote or something.
No, it's going to be, you know what, guys, it's not really going to make much sense because I don't even fully understand it myself. But only recently, Mike, you and I have been learning about the Adamic.
The
pre-Adamic era. Age.
Era makes sense, yeah.
Which, for those of you who don't know, because we didn't know until recently, is before Adam and Eve existed. So as we know, the Lord created the world in 7 days. But I think it would be quite, I don't know, what's the word? I think it would be quite naive for us to think that it was actually 7 days. Now, this could be 700 days, 700 years. It could be anything, right? But what happened before Adam and Eve?
So between when God created the earth, and when
because Adam they created exactly. So they created they.
God now identifies as a day.
I know. Oh, jeez. God created humans or us on the 6th day, right? We know that we were saved till last because we are the best. But what about all the other days or all the other times? Let's just say days because it was created in 7 days, let's just say. What about then? Because we know that Lucifer fell from heaven, okay? And we know that he was in the garden.
He was already there.
Okay? So the animals, the seas, the land, everything was there before we touched the earth.
Facts.
So we're only learning about that now. We're learning about spiritual wars, what happened before, because our story began in Genesis.
Yeah, facts.
So we have no recollection of what happened before, which is super interesting. There's all these theories.
Yeah.
But the word Adam he was given that name for a reason. As we know, one of God's names is Adonai.
Okay.
Now this is where it gets a little confusing.
What does Adonai mean?
It's one of God's names.
What did you know what it means?
What does it mean?
I'll search up for you. Continue.
Okay. So Lucifer also had a name which started with AD. That was one of his names, right?
Do you know the name?
No, because
okay, so
I can't remember.
What do I type in? What? What was?
One of Satan's names beginning with AD. Now, this was a podcast I was watching, and the lady who was explaining all of this, she is very, very spiritual. She prays for 3 hours
Okay.
every day. Do you know? Have you got it there?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what ChatGPT says.
Okay.
The name you're likely thinking of is Adiel,
Yes. Yeah, that's
which
it.
not okay, let me just say what it says
Okay.
here. While not directly associated with Lucifer, Adiel is a Hebrew name meaning ornament of God or God's witness. However, if you're referring to a name traditionally linked to Lucifer before his fall from grace, the most common name is Lucifer itself. But anyway, you talk about what you're doing because this is
Yeah,
ChatGPT.
so they're all linked together. Now I can't really say anything more on that because I don't know. I don't know more than that, to be honest. I need to study a bit more myself for me to then explain it to you. But everything I've noticed to do with the Bible has a link, and I'm just finding it so interesting. I now understand why historians love what they do,
Yeah.
because there's so many links and ties, and I'm just so fascinated by it. So when this woman was talking about why sort of Adam was named Adam, and then you got Adonai, what does that?
So Adonai is a Hebrew word meaning Lord or my Lord, and is used as a reverent way to refer to God in Judaism.
There's another word though that there's another name that means father though. Which one is that?
Elohim?
It might be Elohim.
I'm guessing. Let
I
me
don't
see.
mean Abba either.
Elohim is Hebrew for God.
Oh, okay.
Could be Abba.
Maybe. But Abba is still used to this day for fathers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. Even though I can't tell you the full scope of it, you know that there's a link.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something to dive into and explore more.
Yeah.
But what were you saying there in terms of links and stuff?
What do you?
I think like you're saying now that you're exploring the Bible, you're realizing how intertwined and how intentional everything is.
Yeah, I can't think of an example right now, but
Yeah.
there have been so many times where I've been reading something or I've heard something and it's been like, wow. Even you know what? This is a good example
Yeah,
actually.
sure.
So the name Yahweh, which is one of God's names as well,
Yeah,
he's got
yeah.
so many. In Hebrew, or maybe even what the language that Jesus spoke, Aramaic, I think it was. So the way we speak in English, we use vowels. I think that we use vowels. So we will pronounce it Yahweh. That's vowels, right?
Vowels is like A-E-O-I-O-U.
Okay.
So I think you're looking for. Continue your point. Come around.
So the way that you pronounce Yahweh in in Aramaic would be, it'd be breath. It would be like you're breathing. It would be, which sounds like YHWH. I think that's how it's spelled.
It's composed of the Hebrew letters Yod, Wa.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you think about it, his name is your breath. And when you take your first breath when you're born, the first word is God. And that's how the Bible starts as well.
It's mad though. When you think about that.
So that's like one link that I think is completely mad.
So what books have you been studying recently in the Bible?
I listen to a Bible in a year every morning, and at the moment we're going through Exodus, which conveniently you are as well.
Yeah. We didn't even speak about that.
I know we didn't.
What the odds?
Yeah. So what have you been learning recently from Exodus?
Yeah, Exodus. Yeah, Exodus is interesting. I don't know why I'm reading Exodus. I just felt, I don't know, led to read it or whatever. But yeah, Moses. So I'm basically I'm doing a chapter a day, but like I'm really like deep diving into it and like extracting info and like I'm just not reading it like a book or a story. I'm like, if I see something, I'm like, what does that mean and why does it mean that? And it's actually kind of crazy to say because I've never been in this mode in life where I'm like enjoying reading the Bible. This has never been the thing. But obviously, we've been praying to get closer to God, and I guess one of the byproducts is that is now I'm actually enjoying diving into the Word and stuff like that. But yeah, back to Exodus. I think I'm learning. There's a lot of things I'm learning, right? I think one thing is like God's character, and it's very interesting, right? So if you guys know the story of Moses, he was he was born at a time where Pharaoh was killing all the firstborns.
And
His
Pharaoh was the king of Egypt.
Yeah, so Pharaoh's the king of Egypt, and then his mom put him in a basket into the river Nile to basically save his life. He ended up washing up on the shore, like outside, like Pharaoh's house, and one of was it his daughter that found him?
Yeah.
His daughter that found him, and yeah, he basically ended up being raised Egyptian.
Mm.
Long story short, God kind of called him to say, "Look, you're gonna set the Israelites free." Now, this is a time where Israelites were enslaved by Egyptians for a long time, and God chose Moses.
Mm.
And obviously, Moses is like,
He's a bit old at this point.
is he?
Yeah.
Wasn't that old?
He was a
No, at the point where he's called.
yeah.
Oh yeah, because he did get banished out first. Because he
yeah,
killed.
and then he had a whole life.
Yeah. Okay. So
Met his wife.
Yeah. Hey, 2 seconds.
Sorry.
Look at this. Hey, actually, you know what? I think you want to tell the story.
No,
Go ahead.
no, please.
I implore you to go ahead.
No, please.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Please. Yeah, so long story short, he's seen one of the Israelites getting maltreated whilst he was still like living in Pharaoh's house. He ended up killing that Egyptian soldier.
Are you sure you want to tell it?
I do. Yeah. He ended up killing that Egyptian soldier. Hey, don't stop. That soldier. He got banished out. Ended up went to another village. Ended up marrying like a farmer's daughter, etc., etc. Anyway, God called him and said, "Hey, you're gonna take the Israelites out of Egypt." He's obviously like, "Yeah, cool, but like, why me? I don't think I'm able to do that." And God's just like, "Look, I've called you to do it, so you can't do it. Do you get me? Through me." Long story short, I keep saying long story short, I'm making the story longer. Then obviously he's like, "Oh, but God, I stutter. I can't go and speak in front of Pharaoh, etc." Then he's like, "Okay, cool. Your brother, cousin, Isaac.
No.
No,
Aaron.
it wasn't Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron. 100%.
Aaron or Aaron, one of them. It was Aaron. Yeah.
Why do I think it wasn't? Yeah, you're right. It was not Isaac.
It's Aaron.
It was Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let me continue the story.
No, it's Aaron. I'm telling you, it's Aaron.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so his cousin Aaron basically went with him. So he was basically going to speak on his behalf. And yeah, so there's just a lot of things in this story that I'm kind of reading and I'm realizing. And so if I go back to like when God called Moses, right? And this was at the burning bush. So I realized like, just to give you context as to how I'm kind of reading the Bible and how I'm deep diving into it, God called Moses, but when he called him, he said, "Moses, Moses." And then Moses responds saying, "I am here," or here I am. Here I am, exactly. So then I'm thinking, okay, number one, this is God. Why is he calling him twice as if he wouldn't hear him the first time? So I'm kind of having these questions. And I'm like, it's interesting because I feel like God is very intentional. So if he's calling him twice, I feel like that's for a reason. So then me using my Bible study partner, ChatGPT, grade 2.
Love ChatGPT.
I basically asked ChatGPT, list all the times God has called someone and let me know and list how many times he's called them and what was their response. So majority of the times God has called someone in the Bible, he's called them twice. And some of the responses have been, I can't remember who right now, but some
who
of
are you? Or who is this?
2 seconds. Let me. Would you like to take
no,
my
I was
mic?
just helping you. It seemed like you were.
No, when
thinking.
I go on that, don't worry. I'll let you know when I need help. Cause I've noticed I get thrown off easily once I have a track. And
yeah, no, you were paused, so I thought you might need.
Let me pause for like at least 3 seconds, bro.
Okay.
Anyway, it's all good. Thank you. Where was I? Quick, help me.
You want help? Okay.
Don't do that.
So you, how many times has?
Yeah. Okay. So cool. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. How many times has God called people, and how many times did He mention their name when He called them? So there's a handful of people that He calls twice, saying their name twice. So Moses. There's more examples, but I can't remember off the top of my head. This is my It's my notepad. And there's some people where he's just called once. And out of the people he calls twice also, some of them responded with "Here I am," the same way Moses responded. But some of them also were confused as to where that voice came from. So staying on the people he called twice, it kind of showed me that there's a difference between so basically some people recognize his voice straight away and some people didn't, because the people who he called once were already sensitive to God and who his voice was, whereas so he didn't have to call them twice. And there's people who he called twice that weren't sensitive to God. I mean, sensitive to the Holy Spirit, etc. Actually, they didn't have Holy Spirit back then, but sensitive to God's voice. So he had to call them twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And then obviously some of them even responded like, "Who are you?" or "Where's this voice?" etc. etc. So bringing that back to like, yeah. So all that to say essentially is that like it's very intentional why things happen, and I'm really like diving into it and how this is and how that is, and even like with Abraham as well. If you go back to like Exodus, where not even Exodus, I think Genesis, sorry,
Yeah.
where God is Abraham and Isaac, right,
Mm-hmm.
are going up to sacrifice I mean, well, to sacrifice Isaac at the point. He also called Isaac twice, and Isaac also responded along the lines of "Here I am" and stuff like that. So it's all like it's like an intertwined poetry type
Mm-hmm.
stuff and this and that. And then another thing that I read today, which is very interesting, and it kind of made me, because I'm always like questioning stuff, right? I think I'm naturally like a logical person, so I'm always trying to figure out like why is this happening? Why is that? So
Mm-hmm.
now with the whole Moses trying to take God, with the whole Moses trying to take the Israelites out of
Egypt.
Egypt. Thank you. Out of Egypt, God like kept on hardening Pharaoh's heart. And I was kind of like, okay, well, God, if you want Moses to take them out, why did you keep hardening Pharaoh's heart?
Mm-hmm.
But it says in the Bible as well, like God did that so people could see that it was the Lord that saved you from this place. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah.
if Pharaoh's heart wasn't hardened and they just all left willy nilly, they wouldn't have been able to attest to the fact that that was God that did that. So
Yeah.
every single time Moses came back and like, hey, let my people go, he's like, nah. And then another plague came, another plague came, and then even at that point, Pharaoh was trying to get his sorcerers to like copy what God was doing, up to a point where they weren't able to copy anymore. They're like, wow, this is just the God that he serves, etc. So it
Mm-hmm.
was very like, so basically what I kind of learned from that was like, wow, God, like, he'll put things in a way where he gets the glory. So it's like kind of similar to what I was saying a few weeks back, where it's like sometimes it needs to be so bad, your scenario situation needs to be so bad that when you get out of it, it's only God you can give the glory to.
Mm-hmm.
And another example of when God did it as well was when um they were they finally left Israel. I mean, sorry, they finally left Egypt. They were going to the Red Sea, and at that point as well, God said, "I will harden Pharaoh's heart again," and then basically they're gonna like chase after him. And he said that I'll harden Pharaoh's heart so the Egyptians know that I am the Lord your God, essentially.
Mm.
And then what happened then again? Now Moses is going to the Red Sea. The Israelites are scared because the Egyptians are catching up. Moses is like, "Don't be afraid, be still. God is with you," etc.
Mm.
Great. So that was Exodus, actually. Exodus 14, 13, and 14. So that's kind of what I was sending to you earlier, where it's like, if you're ever stressed or feared, they're the really good verses to refer back to. But all that to say is, God appeared like in a cloud, a pillar of fire, essentially, before the Egyptians got to um, when the Egyptians got to the Israelites, he like cast confusion into the camp of the enemy, counting to the Egyptians. That's where the wheels of the chariots were all falling down. The people were confused, and then that's when the Egyptians were like, "We need to leave the Israelites alone because this is the God that they serve. Like, this is God." So God said this was going to happen. Then it did happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then even within the same chapter, I'm seeing like, okay, we all know Moses parted the Red Sea, right?
Yep.
So yeah, Moses parted the Red Sea, but then I'm like, why did God ask Moses to raise his hand? so he could part the Red Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, God can do it regardless of whether Moses raises his hand or not.
Yeah.
And then even to close the Red Sea, God said again, stretch your hands over the water and it'll close up. So then I'm like, interesting. So God asked Moses to act something out so he could now show his glory, or, you know what I mean? Bless
God's glory through him.
God's glory through him.
Mm-hmm.
So then reverting that to like how we live, I'm like, God is probably waiting for us to do something so he could bless us or show his power. He's waiting for us to act. So when we're actually, excuse me, that's 7 up ahead. When we're praying for something or we're asking God for something, maybe he's waiting for us to stretch our hands out before he can bless us. You get me? So I think there's always an action we need to take in order for God to bless us or to, yeah. But anyway, as you can probably tell, I'm enjoying Exodus.
Oh yeah, because I asked you what was Moses' thing. You give us everything. Love it.
I swear, but I think it's nuts. I've
can
never been in this state of like, wow.
No, you come running in while I'm in the middle of work. You're like, guess what I learned today? I'm like,
Facts.
all right, tell me what's next in Exodus. Because I'm a little bit ahead of you as well.
Yeah.
But we're learning in different ways because you're reading, I'm listening.
Yeah.
So it might be something that I'm not getting that you're getting, or vice versa.
Because I'm going off in tangents. I'll see like a line or I'll see like a little word.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is this? What is this? Like even like the whole unleavened bread. Like why is God asking them to make bread without yeast? So I'm going into that, and then obviously in historical context, well, practicality wise, it was quicker, it was lighter, it was smaller. So God asked them to make that before they left Egypt. But then in terms of like symbolism, it represents like cleanliness. And then obviously when God broke bread with the disciples, they broke unleavened bread to show that his clean body he's sharing with the rest of the world. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So there's lots of like links and foreshadowing and subtle. It's like poetry, but like I'm like my brain is like, do you get me? And it's like, for example, like we have loads of books there behind Jasmine. Do you want to give them a show? Just give them a.
Here.
Loads of books there behind Jasmine, and it's like all the stuff that's in there is probably
it's all taken.
It's all taken from the Bible in some way, some fashion.
No, I was reading. I'm a little bit further than you at the moment. I'm in Joshua now, where Joshua takes over from Moses, and he's leading the Israelites into.
Who's Joshua to who now? Where's Joshua come from? Who's his dad?
And I don't know who his dad was.
Okay,
but I know he was appointed or anointed by God to lead the people after Moses, and so he helped them cross the Jordan River, and that's where the 12 stones from the River Jordan come from as well, because they built an altar. But I was reading where the Israelites didn't have any food, but they always had so this type of bread always appeared in the morning or the day. They always had bread. Somehow they didn't know that, but they were always going to be fed. But God said, don't take more than what you need, otherwise you don't know what's going to be there tomorrow. Take only what you need. And so it was up until they reached the promised land where they could see milk and honey. Milk and honey. God provided this bread every single day up until the day that they were entering the promised land. So as I was reading this, I was like, how come on this day no bread was provided? And so I did some research, and it said that God only provided what was needed. Now they have everything off the land, like it's crops that it can supply the Israelites. So that bread was no longer needed anymore. But God will always provide exactly what you need. And so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's it. Because I what I love is that like we can apply a lot of the stuff that's happening there to like now, and it's like this is like the greatest but it's not even interesting.
Self-help books don't exist.
Yeah, no, but not even that, because they do. But I was about to say that the Bible is like the greatest self-help book, but it's like no, because we're looking to God for help. So I'm like, self-help isn't a thing.
That's what I mean.
Oh my God.
Revelation.
No way. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Because then if you're saying, yeah, it's all me, that's not of God. I can't help myself. What? Yeah, I love when like
Light bulb moment.
this. No facts. Yeah, geez, live on the pod, live. Yeah, I love when stuff. Yeah, this is what I'm enjoying about the Bible. 'Cause stuff is like boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
100%.
Self help.
Mm,
Oh, we can't be saying that no more. God help books.
exactly.
The
Is there
Bible is
even
the
a
best
John?
God
Yeah,
help book.
this is true. This
That's
is
nuts.
true.
Okay, so there's something I'm gonna say a statement,
Uh-huh.
and I want to hear your thoughts on it, and then we'll look for biblical examples.
Okay.
It's
Let's
proper
go.
Bible study now.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Bible study pod, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so answer me with yay or nay,
Okay.
and then give me your thoughts
Okay.
on why, whether yay or nay.
Okay.
God cares more about your character than your comfort. Yay or nay?
Yay, I believe that to be true
Why?
because I've lived it. So I know it to be true.
Fair. So what's this example you speak of?
From what?
Or is there anything you can share with us?
No, from what I've been studying, and also just life really. If he wanted you to be comfortable, then you wouldn't change, and you're required to change in order to reach your next level, your potential.
Yeah.
And so going back to Exodus, it would have been a lot of the Israelites were complaining to Moses, saying, "Why we haven't got any food, we haven't got any water. It would have been better if you just left us in Egypt."
Yeah. Did you bring us out here to? I found it. I laughed at the Bible for the first time. It's like, did you bring us out here to bury us? Why didn't you? Yeah, did you bring us out to the desert to bury us?
Yeah.
Why didn't you leave us there? I was like,
exactly. So that's an example. Obviously, they were wandering in the wilderness for 40 years, the Israelites. So that is very uncomfortable. A lot of them didn't even get to see the promised land. It was their children that got to see it. But it was important for how they're living now, like generations now. So I think that it's important that God did that.
There's another good example.
Yeah?
I want to see if you can think about it.
Oh, there's too many examples.
Someone we're speaking about today.
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very good example. Exactly. So in order for Joseph to be...
Slow down. Give us the breakdown, because you did a really nice breakdown today.
I did?
Give us a breakdown of...
Okay, not
everyone knows, because even this morning I was like, as in the one that married Mary. And I was like, no, it's another Joseph.
No, there's more than one Joseph.
Yeah. So who's this Joseph now?
Okay, this Joseph. So this Joseph had many dreams as a child. And
Who's his dad? Do you know off the top of your head?
Jacob, which is son to Isaac.
And
Isaac is son to Abraham.
Cool.
Or Abram.
I love the lineage.
I know. So basically, Joseph had many dreams, and he was the youngest of his brothers. And he was being a bit cocky and telling his brothers his dreams. So that's one lesson right there. You don't tell everyone your dreams. But his dreams were that he was going to be very successful. He was going to be ruling over his brothers, basically. They didn't like the sound of this. And so I think he had 3 brothers. They came up with a plan. One of them was like, yeah, should we just X him?
Crazy. Imagine
Which is crazy.
If you think about it, imagine your brother saying, yeah, let's kill this other guy.
That's crazy.
Allow him.
It's America. But yeah, it's crazy. But one of the brothers was like, okay, well, how about we just put him in this ditch, because I don't really want to be having that on my hands. So they did that. But at the time as well, so Joseph was Jacob's favorite son. And so he gifted him this cloak or coat that was multicolored. And when they put Joseph in the ditch, obviously the coat was left behind. So that's important to the story, actually. But before leaving him in the ditch, they actually saw, I can't remember who it was, but they saw this other tribe go past the village, and they sold their brother off to be a slave. Now, I can't remember what happens next, but somehow he gets out of this, because remember, he's anointed as well, so he's always destined for great things. So he somehow gets out of this and has a good job with the governor. Meanwhile, while he has this job, the governor's wife is lustful and tries tempting Joseph. Joseph is a man of God. Says, "No, get away from me. I'm not
slag.
I'm not. Yeah, you slag. I'm not interested."
Yeah.
Now the wife lies and says that he did stuff that he did not do, and so Joseph is now put in prison. while he's in prison, two of the kings, so King Pharaoh, two of the king's employees, I guess, also gets thrown in jail. One is the wine taster, and the other one I can't really remember. Now, these two employees were having really bad dreams, and Joseph is a good interpreter of dreams because he has them himself.
Yeah.
And so they were telling Joseph their dreams. One of them, the one I can't remember, basically Joseph said, "Look, you're gonna go in a few days. You're gonna get X'd in a few days. It's not looking good for you." And so he's like, "Oh man, that sucks." And so the wine taster, he said to the wine taster, "Look, you'll be fine. In a few days' time, you'll be back with the king doing your usual job. Don't worry, you'll be cool." And so a few days go by, and that actually happens. The wine taster goes back to the king, and he says to Joseph, "Thank you so much. I will tell the king everything of what you interpreted for me. Thank you so much." He didn't do that. He forgot. Life went on. Joseph is in prison for a long time.
Yeah.
Until one day, the king is starting to get really bad dreams himself. And that's when the wine taster remembers Joseph. And he's like, "Oh, I know a Hebrew man in the prison who can interpret dreams." And so the king uses Joseph for this and is so inspired by him that he actually has him as a governor. So he's actually the second most important person. King being the first, Joseph becomes the second. And now Joseph can... The dream that Joseph interpreted from the king was that there's going to be a huge famine, and he has to act on it now. Joseph's family were at risk of this famine. So long story short, Joseph ends up meeting his brothers, but his brothers don't recognize him because he's in this rich gear. They haven't seen him for like 40 years, maybe. Crazy.
Okay, so the king took him out of prison at this
point,
right?
Took him out of prison at this time. Yeah. He's living as a governor. He's the second most important person in Egypt.
Yeah.
He ends up meeting his brothers. He doesn't tell them who he is at that point. The brothers are scared of him because he has the power to do whatever he wants, really. He's the second most important person in Egypt. He tells them, "Right, I need you to get your father and everyone else and come to Egypt." And that's when he tells them, "I am Joseph." And Jacob as well is obviously so happy because his son is alive. And he thought that his son had died because he found his coat in the ditch where his brothers initially took him. And so Joseph forgave his brothers and saved them from the famine. Now, Joseph had to go through all of that. Otherwise, how else was he going to be the second most important person, second to the king? And he wouldn't have been able to save his family from famine. So, if he had stayed with his family, he would have experienced the famine. If he would have been with that lustful woman, he would have experienced the famine. But because he was anointed by God and God always had good plans for him, even though he went through rubbish times, he was always able to get out of them because he was destined for that.
So one could say that if he didn't go through what he went through, he wouldn't have been as great as he was.
No, absolutely not. He needed to be aligned and perfectly in place. Because how was he going to get there?
Yeah, because it wasn't a comfortable journey at all.
No.
But then I think that story is...
It's a crazy story.
Nuts, right? Because there's so many layers to it.
So many layers. I'm just giving you brief.
So even, I think the layer we're talking about right now is the whole God caring more about your character than comfort. Because obviously God had a plan for Joseph, but he wasn't too fussed about how comfortable this journey was. Because it wasn't.
Yeah.
He got beat up, left in the ditch, got sold as a slave, got out of the hole, got into a better job, let's just say, got put into prison, and then this and that, this and this, etc., etc. But another layer in that is like Joseph was anointed, so God always had plans for him.
But also don't forget as well, because of his lineage, the reason he's anointed is because of his lineage and because God was making great nations from Abraham as well. So it was always written that he had to be great.
Why him and not his brother then?
There's always one chosen one. I don't know. Well, I guess they were saved from the famine, but it had to take that one family member to bring them out.
Why was he anointed? No, I'm asking the anointed. The famine has nothing to do with what I'm asking right now.
No, but still, Jacob was still anointed and he was the father, but he was still going to,
Yeah, I'm saying, why was Joseph out of his brothers anointed?
because he was a good interpreter of dreams.
That's answering it after the fact, rather
Mm.
than saying why. Do you get me?
Yeah, but still, his family experienced the greatness.
I know. I'm asking why Joseph though.
I don't know. Ask him.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the answer. I don't know. Anyway, what I was trying to say is okay. So there's many layers to it. So that one that you explained there, but then also with him being anointed, and God saying this is who you become, etc. No matter what happened to him. Okay, no. Let me say it this way. God destined Joseph for greatness.
Mhm.
Now his brothers weren't happy with that, but his brother is now putting him in that ditch, beating him up, etc., leaving him for dead, is what made him become what he was meant to become.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like the way I see that is that like no matter what outside pressures may bring slash the enemy or however you want to see it, if
Mhm.
God has something planned for your life, it will come to pass.
Mhm.
But that's as long as you stay obedient. Because now we have that slag of a woman trying to move to Joseph,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Yo, Joseph, look, like, yo," because obviously as well, we forgot to mention that Joseph, whoever Joseph worked with, they benefited from him a lot because he was just anointed. So
Yeah.
that's why he had so much trust to all these different people he worked with and why they loved him so much. So obviously she's seeing that, and obviously
I
she's
think
like,
he was
yeah,
meant to be quite handsome as well.
she's seeing like, oh, he's a bit peng. So now she's trying to move to him, and he's like, allow it, man. I trust God. Your husband's my boss. I'm not trying to do this. He stayed obedient. She
Lied.
yeah, so what you said as well. So she tried to like just jump on him and grope him. He ran away, got away, but then she tried to say, "Hey, he R-worded me." Do you
Mm.
get what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
So if he had now, let's just say he slept with her, who knows how this story would have went? Because let's just say now he slept with her, they fell in love, they ran off. This famine will still come because and then finesse them.
That's why I just said he would have still experienced the famine
Yeah,
if he stayed.
yeah.
So it was destined for greatness. Sorry, I just already said it.
Oh, can I not like repeat it?
No, 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 no. You can.
I'm sorry, I forgot you wrote the Bible. I'm sorry, Jasmine.
It's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, yeah, so many stories. And then another example with the whole God cares more for your comfort. God cares more about your character than your comfort is Job. Now,
That's
Job,
horrible.
yeah, Job. I wouldn't wish Job's life on anyone,
Mm-mm.
but he was from the beginning to the end. So short synopsis because I can't remember the nitty gritty.
It's a long, long
Job was
story.
like so blessed, so rich, had so much cattle, had so many kids, and the devil basically came. I actually need to read about it because I'm like, the devil kind of tested God, and God was like, "Yeah, I'll show you." But then I'm like, "Why are you allowing the devil?" To... Anyway, before you say, hold your thought, because I know you want to interrupt me, and I'm going to lose my thought. Before you say 2 seconds. So, yeah, so Job was blessed, had so much stuff, so much cattle, basically just really rich, right? And God said, but he was extremely obedient to God. So then Satan came to God and he's like, "Yo, you know he's only obeying you and obedient to you, etc., because you've been blessing him." And then God's just like, "No, that's not true." So God says, "Okay, cool, do what you want, but spare his life, and I'll show you that he's like obedient." So then devil goes and I think how basically all his cattle goes away or gets killed or robbed or whatever. His kids end up dying. He ends up getting boils on his body. To all this keeps on happening, keeps on happening, keeps on happening to the point where he has literally nothing. And his wife and his friends are even saying, "Yo, why are you still trusting God when all this is happening to you?" Like his wife even said, "Curse God and die." But Job, within all that, was like, "Nah." And then, long story short, he ends up getting redeemed, becomes even richer than he was, all because he trusted God. Now, God didn't really care about his comfort, because how are you gonna tell me all these kids die like within the same few days or whatever? And he's like, "Yeah, Lord, I trust you. Thank you, God." That's nuts.
Mm.
Do you know what I'm saying? And like it's like we lose as humans now, we lose less, and we're like, "Oh, allow this."
Yeah. So, oh God, parking ticket. Why me?
And do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And this guy went through hell and back, literally, because the devil was playing with him. But that's another example of that. But what I want to bring up now that I thought about it is like, why did we may not have the answer now? Actually, we'll chat GPT it.
Mhm.
My question is, why did God allow the devil to like,
Oh,
what's the word? Not test him, but like draw him out. Do you know
yeah.
what I'm trying to
That's
say?
like one of the biggest questions.
Why did God?
You got to think really. This God knew. God's always got a plan, and He knows that this is going to be a lesson for someone else as well. And so, when everyone else goes through rough times, they're going to bring up Job as an example
Yeah.
of sticking by your faith. And I think He had to use him as an example, knowing, because he knows the beginning and the end, knowing that it was going to be fine.
Okay, cool. So I wrote in ChatGPT, right? Why did God allow the devil to draw him out? To draw him out with Job, but keep it biblically, because ChatGPT you can get his answer in there. So in the book of Job, God allows Satan to test Job's faithfulness to demonstrate depth and sincerity of Job's righteousness. The central purpose is not to show weakness on God's part, but to reveal the unwavering faith of a true servant. So basically, what you're saying there. So in Job 1 to 6, that's when Satan appears to God, initiates the conversation. Yeah, so basically it's Satan's challenge, God's permission. The purpose of this test is to demonstrate that Job's faith is genuine and not dependent on material blessings. So key lessons, God's sovereignty. God remains fully in control throughout the story. Satan can only act with the limits God set. That's actually true. So at the very beginning, he's like, you can do what you want, but don't touch this. Or you can do this, but don't touch that. Which
Mm-hmm.
actually shows you how much power God has, because it's like Satan could not listen to him. Oh, crazy.
Another light bulb moment?
Yeah.
What is it?
Okay, if you're like the devil and you hate God, like, why are you listening to him?
Because he's scared. This is
But
what
that's what, yeah, that's why it's not even scared, but it's like he can't not like
No,
he wouldn't
it's
dare do that.
no, but this is what I was bringing up earlier, is that no one criticizes Buddhism or Islam or anything like that because fake religions. And the reason why Jesus can't be mentioned in so many industries, such as the music industry, is because it holds so much power, and that's why in so many
I don't know what you're trying to say. Denominations.
no, in so many demonic situations,
Oh.
you draw that out by mentioning Jesus because it holds so much weight and power, because it is the one true religion, he's the one true God. And so when why are you smiling?
I'm just looking at you. I can't believe this is you saying this.
So that's why he feels
facts.
he's scared, because
Yeah,
there's only
facts.
one religion that stands. He doesn't care about Allah. He doesn't care about Buddha. He doesn't care about Krishna, whatever, if you want to count that. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't care about that because it doesn't exist. It's
Yeah.
not real.
Yeah.
He only cares about the true God.
Yeah.
And that's why he has to listen.
Yeah. So, key lesson 2, faith and integrity. The story highlights that true faith is not based on prosperity, but on steadfast relationship with God. And then number 3, divine wisdom. Humans may not always understand God's reasoning, which, yeah, I agree. But the story affirms that God's wisdom is greater than human understanding. Ultimately, the story of Job shows that faithfulness to God can endure even through suffering, and that God's purposes are deeper than human comprehension.
It's a crazy book, though. I mean, I started reading it and I still haven't finished it because it's so long. I mean, his friends chat about Job for most of it.
Yeah.
So long.
Oh yeah. There's just
Long transcript.
I'm interested to read it now, because I know when I did read it, I wasn't really like on Bible study, but I think now I'd be able to digest it a lot better. So okay, so even on that now we're talking about God and stuff like that. So like let's touch on like God's character, right? So how did you see the character of God like before? Maybe let's just say before you've been more in tune with your faith to now. Do you understand the question? Give me an
Yeah, I
example.
do. No, I do. It's just a big question.
So in the camera again. Let me just stretch it out.
Yeah, you can see your toe there. How I saw God before. Do you know what you're gonna say?
No, I just thought the question there.
Okay. I'd say I saw him as obviously the ruler, the creator of Earth. I never doubted that. But I didn't take him as serious. I was just
Interesting.
like, look, I'm a good person and that's enough.
Works based.
Sorry?
Works based.
What does that mean?
Um, you feel like you can work your way to heaven by doing good deeds, basically.
Yeah, kind of. It was like, look, I know he knows my heart. I'm a good person. I don't know the Bible, but that's fine. I was brought up a Christian, so that's cool. But yeah, I didn't take him seriously at all. I didn't take anything seriously, to be honest.
Versus now, then how do you see God versus like now?
Like a aid, like a crutch, like support. I see it's like we were saying, self-help book is like the biggest self-help book there is. Like everything you need you can actually get from that book, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I see him now as, I'd say, my aid.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good way to see him.
Yeah. What about you?
Similar vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Similar vibe. I think.
Well, let's talk about how you saw him before, because you grew up like your mum always took you to church. You would spend
Yeah,
hours
I
at Sunday
think
school.
before I think I see him. I think the way I see him is similar, but I think the way I experience him is different.
Yeah.
So how I see him is kind of the same. It's just like powerful God, all knowing, all seeing, um, all present.
Mm.
The one that,
Omnipresent and
yeah, exactly. The one who created the heavens and the earth.
yeah.
Even though when I'm in class, they're teaching me about the Big Bang, I'm like, don't mind that shit.
Mm. Did you say that? Yeah.
I didn't say it. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I can tune out for this part. Yeah, just that like big, strong figure, and I still kind of see him as that, but I think the way I experience him is different because now it's like, before it was like, oh, that's God and that's what He does. Now it's like, it's more of a it's more of like a relationship now. It's like I'm trying to align myself with Him.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Before it's like, oh, that's what He does, but now I'm like, oh, that's what we're also meant to do,
Mm.
because Jesus gave us the blueprint. Because obviously we see God and he's way bigger than us and He can do everything. But then obviously came down in human form, and it's like, so
He can relate.
it is possible, but through His grace. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Mm.
So I think I'm now trying to like align myself more with God and in that path and just understanding Him. And I think through reading these books and stuff, I'm learning more about His character and how like He will always provide for you and He wants the best for us. And like it does say in the Bible, in actually I have it in my notes here, in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for you to prosper and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.
Mm.
So it says it there in the Bible that He has these plans for us. But at the same time, I see He's very like stern and strict.
Mm-hmm.
So He's not like a God that like, I don't think there's leeway with God. It's yes or no, right or wrong.
Mm.
It's not like he'll understand. I can do this because he'll get it. But he's like, no. He's like, yeah, I love you, but don't do that.
Yeah.
Just like a parent would be with their kid and be like, you don't, like, we can play around, we can have a right relationship, but don't mess me about.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
And there's certain times in like, when I'm in Exodus, like for example, he sent Moses to Egypt. Moses is heading there, and then the next verse is like, God was about to kill him.
Yeah, because let's not forget that Moses was supposed to see the promised land, but because of his disobedience, he never got to see the promised land in its full entirety.
We're talking about two different verses, though, I think.
Are we?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
When he was on the way to Egypt, you're on the way to Promised Land.
Oh.
Were you listening to what I was saying?
Yeah, but it was starting the same way.
Anyway, yeah. So basically, when he was on the way to Egypt, after God gave him the message to go to Egypt, he was just about to kill him out of nowhere. So I think I don't want to misquote it, but in the early books anyway, he was about to kill him out of nowhere. And the reason he was going to kill him because his son wasn't circumcised, etc., etc. So I was kind of like, I was reading it because he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go. Aaron's gonna go. So Aaron's actually his brother, not his cousin. So yeah, I'm gonna go. yeah, man, basically Moses, go do your thing, etc. And then all of a sudden he wanted to kill him. I'm like, bro, you
Mm.
just sent him on the mission. Now you want to kill him. But at that time, the covenant was that all the firstborns must be circumcised, and then because even in that it says his wife, oh, I can't remember her name, but anyway, his wife basically took a flintstone,
Phew.
cooked son's, thingy straight away, which is a mad visuals, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it literally went from black to white, like that. So I'm like, God's not to be messed with, and I'm like, I don't know if it says whether God already told him or not, but I reckon God would have, or at least he knows that. So I don't know. Long story short, don't believe in God. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I do. Yeah, so I think what I'm saying is, before it was I knew who he was, but now I'm actually like experiencing him, which is.
But I think
great.
that's the difference between like religion and having a relationship with Christ.
Speak on it.
Because you could say being a Catholic, there's more of a religion, there's rules to follow, and so on. But I'd say, especially in the church that we're in now, it's more of the relationship that you have rather than a religion. Because religion gives cult, in my opinion.
I hear you.
And I feel like a lot of denominations give that. And I think that's why a lot of them say, oh yeah, you can't have fun, you can't listen to, church isn't meant to be a party. It was like, okay, but says who? Because it says there is a book of Psalms, that's songs, right? So you're meant to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's more about having that relationship with Christ, because that's why he came to earth, for you to have that relationship with him, rather than it just being a religion that you follow, rules,
Yeah.
and not having any connection there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was saying that based off, but I had a point.
Yeah. Would you ever preach?
No. I feel like I'm a little bit like Moses on this. I think I stutter.
Maybe he'll give you.
I don't think I stutter, but I think I
You're just not made up for it.
yeah, my words just don't, connect.
Like.
And I'm doing a podcast.
I know you actually have no excuse, because there's proof that your words do connect.
Okay, guys, let me know. Do I yap?
But yeah, if God can use Moses and he's like a stutterer,
Mm.
he can use you.
Yeah, maybe we'll see in the future. I'm not saying no, but it's not on my list.
Yeah, no,
That's for sure.
I hear what you're saying. That's
Yeah.
good.
What about you? Do you think that you'd ever preach, seeing as in the last few podcasts you did say that you do want to inspire people? That could count as inspiring.
Ish, God. Honestly, I wouldn't want to. Can't be up on the stage. No, it's not. I don't know. Who knows? But I don't see it for me.
Don't you have on your mood board you talking in front of loads of people?
Yeah, but that was meant to be for like.
What?
Good point. I don't even know.
Because whatever you say, I can be like, yeah, but why can't you do that in church? Whatever you say, I can turn it into that.
Ish. Yeah, fair enough. To be honest, I put down the mood board and I don't even know what I was talking about. I just wanted to like talk.
Yeah, it's basically this
talking.
guy in a suit. It's giving like Tony Robbins, right? And then it's a crowd full of people. So you've rented out like a big venue, like a concert venue almost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mike, why have you put this on our mood board? You're like, I don't know. I just want to be invited to chat to people, inspire people.
Yeah, I think, I want to be like a speaker, because people get paid like $5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand just to go and talk.
Yeah, churches can still pay you. They do, though. You think those guest pastors from Florida come for free?
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Do you think you should be able to
Yeah,
get paid for like Bible stuff?
I've thought about that, but then it's like it's...
I hear it.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though. It's
it's like, in terms of like, it's weird. Okay, definitely like travel, hotel, all that needs to be sorted. But then it's like, how do I, if I was a pastor and someone wanted me to come and preach a sermon, how do I price that?
I know, but I think that's how you can do God's work at full-time capacity as well. Because if you're not getting paid for it, you're still putting your time elsewhere, whether that's, doing a corporate job and you maybe preach on the weekend. So I think you still have to get paid for it in order to make that your living.
But if I say like my fee is like 10 grand for an hour, is that fair? Because people charge that, but maybe not. I don't know if they do it in church or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to know how that works, but obviously politics play a big role in churches.
It's probably all in the Bible. It probably says somewhere.
Maybe.
Let me ask.
You never know.
I love ChatGPT.
Maybe it came from Paul.
Go on.
Maybe he started charging because he went over to loads of churches all over the world. Maybe he had a fee.
Okay, so where in the Bible does it say you can charge to preach?
ChatGPT will like, it does? Where does it say that?
Okay, so it says it does not explicitly say they should charge. However, it does address the concept of providing material support to those who dedicate their lives to ministry. So Corinthians 9, 13, 14 says, do you not know that those who are employed in the temple service get their fruit from the temple? Those who serve at the altar share in the same sacrificial offering to the... So it's actually Paul that's preaching about it. So Paul is teaching that it is appropriate for those who preach the gospel to receive financial support, but he himself chose not to exercise this right.
Of course it's Paul.
So he's saying yeah, but he didn't.
Man like Paul. If you had to have coffee, or in your case, mocha or mocha, with anyone in the Bible, who would it be? And why?
Coffee.
Or mocha, hot chocolate, tea, lemonade.
I'm not a big coffee guy. With who? So who do I want to have like a chat with?
Yeah, or ask like who. It's like who would you invite to your dinner party sort of question. Your phone's ringing. It's someone from the Bible saying, "Hey, let's meet up for a coffee," or sorry, an orange juice.
That's lit, yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah, I've got loads of questions to ask you, man or woman."
I was gonna say Joseph. No, not Joe. Man, I think Jesus is a bit of a cop out. That's too easy.
I think we'd all like to have coffee with Jesus. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'd say
but he's invited regardless.
To be honest, I'd probably just say Moses based off the fact that, like, recency wise, the fact that I'm listening to him, reading about him right now.
But what questions would you ask him? Why were you so disobedient?
No.
Why were you?
You don't like Moses.
No, but he wasn't obedient, and
so
he had anger issues.
Happened? Go on. What happened with this disobedience?
He didn't get to see the promised land because of his anger issues.
Go on, dive into it. Explain it.
For example, when he got water out of the rock, he didn't need to beat it.
Describe it, because I don't know the...
You haven't got to the water part?
No, I'm only on chapter 14.
Okay, I don't know what chapter it is.
Break it down for us.
Okay, so...
Context, because obviously not everyone knows.
So the Israelites were really, really thirsty, and there was no water anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses got his staff, and basically like beat on the rock, and water just came gushing out. And so everyone was able to drink, and it was more than enough. But God said to him, "Why did you need to do that so angrily?" And the reason that he got water from the stone was because they were complaining. They were just so ungrateful. They were like, did you just leave us in Egypt? They were doing that. Moses was just getting really fed up with this complaining. Was like, "Look what I've done for you."
Yeah.
Or look what God's done for you. And so God was like, why were you so angry? You could have just spoke to the rock and it would have come out. Like, why did you have to be so angry? And he wasn't obedient because he could have, he had to get Aaron to speak on his behalf. God called Moses. He didn't call Aaron. He called Moses.
I don't think that's been him being... It is in a sense, but it's not like I'm not listening to you, God. It's just that he didn't feel worthy to do what God was asking him to do.
But God knows he chose him, though. Otherwise, he would have said, I want you and Aaron.
I know, but if God asks you to go into the middle of Market Street and preach tomorrow, and because you're nervous or shy, I wouldn't say you're being yes, you are not obeying what God said, but I wouldn't class you as disobedient. I'd say, I see where you're... Do you know what I mean? It was more of an insecurity he had. Less
of course it was an insecurity,
but he still drove the Israelites out. It's Moses we'll talk about, not Aaron.
No, of course, but it's like at the same time, because he was disobedient in other areas as well because of his anger, he didn't get to see the promised land.
Yeah,
he got to see a peek of it. God let him see a peek of it.
Yeah.
It's like, look over there, that's where we're gonna be. Sorry. You won't get to live in it.
Okay, so let's say you're not having coffee with Moses anyway, but I might. All right.
All right, what questions would you ask him?
Definitely that burning bush. I want to know what that looked like.
Yeah, that
Because
would
it's just a bush that's on fire.
What about the Red Sea, though?
Yeah, no.
That's even bigger than a burning
That's
bush. I can create a
crazy.
burning bush over there.
It says in the Bible as well, when they walked on the dry land, there's literally 2 walls of water.
Yeah.
Just like that. So imagine you're seeing fishes swim in that thingy, and then it's like, imagine the aura he'd feel as well when he lifted his thingy, and then it's just parted. That's levels. He would have been like, bro, had to be there. But you know, on the serious note, what would I ask Moses? It's not even what I'd ask him. I'd like to like. Bear in mind, he was someone who didn't think he could do all these things, and he did it, and he was obedient to God as well, because every time he went back to Pharaoh, he never complained once. Do you get me? So I think it's not fair to now call Moses disobedient, because if for 1 or 2 instances, you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but there's a reason why he wasn't able to see the promised land.
A lot of people didn't see it. Not just Moses.
Yeah,
Bear in mind, he's still the anointed
Moses was
one.
meant to
Moses
say it.
wrote. It says he wrote the. I think it was Janet. He definitely wrote Exodus and a few of the older ones. He wrote the Bible. So this is like, Moses is that guy still. Don't stand for my boy. You know what? I'm getting defensive about Moses because I'm reading about him.
I know.
Don't stand for my boy.
I'm not. I have an opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion.
Anyway, my boy Moses got to write some books in the Bible. Did you? Or did any of your people?
No, did you?
I didn't say I did.
No, but you were getting defensive about someone who's not right here right now. You might get a chance to have coffee with him. Maybe he might not accept your invitation.
Yeah, you would.
I'm just saying, don't be having a go at me.
Don't have a go at Moses.
I'm just calling it how I see it.
Wow. Anyway, at least Moses can see me backing him.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm picking Moses because I'm just reading about him right now. So I think there's a few extra questions I'd ask him about, like, yeah, like stuff like that, like the Red Sea parting, or what was it like? Because he got us the 10 Commandments, bro. You see what I'm saying? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
He was the one that did that.
Big deal.
So I think him being one of the first few chosen people and just chatting to God on a daily, and you know, turning the staff into a snake, and
oh yeah, that was
crazy.
crazy.
I mean, there's some nuts stuff. He's like, Moses has seen some stuff.
Yeah.
And he like was super old as well when he passed or whatever happened.
Yeah, he was 100 and something, I think.
I think it's more than that. No, I think it's way more than that.
Way more?
Way more.
How old was he?
Are you checking it?
No.
What are you checking? How old was Moses when he passed? Did Moses even die? Oh, crap. Yeah, you're right. 120 years old. So who was super old then?
Abraham.
How old was Abraham?
I feel like he was in the 200s.
Okay, let's check it. You're on the roll. Is that your final answer?
200 or 300s.
Pick one.
200s.
175. Why do I have an image in my head that they're all like there's some of them like 862?
Oh no, honey, no.
What am I on about? Where am I? What have I been reading?
I don't know.
By the way, guys, as you can tell, I'm not like a pastor or anything. So every time I say it, go and check it in your Bible. You know.
Yeah.
Go and check in your Bible, please. But yeah, I think if you guys enjoyed more of this,
you didn't ask me who I would have coffee with.
Oh, well, it's not Moses. I don't care who it is.
Okay, cool. If you guys have enjoyed the podcast,
joking. Who would you have coffee with?
I actually don't know. I think what would be really cool is to.
There's no way you called me up on that to say I don't know.
No. Honestly, there's so many people.
You pick one.
Because at first I was like, okay, I really like Matthew, but it's like he's given us already so much through what he's written anyway. So that, you know, I'd only be talking to him to see what Jesus was like, and he already gave us an account of that. But I think it'd be really cool to meet Jonah. What was it like being inside of a whale?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like,
yeah, nuts.
What was it like?
The smell? It wasn't. Yeah, it must have stunk, bro.
Crazy. So I think that would be really cool. I think that would be my only question, though.
It's a short coffee.
Yeah, it's really short coffee. But I'll
you must be sick of that question as well, though.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here we go again. You should ask him something different.
I know.
Be different.
What's it called? Tale as long as time, something like that. But yeah, I don't know who else I'd speak to.
I think we're waffling now.
A lot of people.
But anyway, guys, if you like this style of podcast, make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you like. yeah, make sure you leave a comment. Like, let us know, like, because we don't know if you guys are enjoying the pods or not unless
We're
you
still
like
gonna
it, unless
talk
you
about
comment.
the Bible anyway.
Pardon?
We're still gonna chat about the Bible anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But let us know if you like it.
Yes. If you learned
Um,
something as well, let us know if you learned anything.
If
Because
you
we're
disagree
learning.
with anything, let us know.
Yeah.
If you feel like we got something wrong,
then let us know.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, we're learning. So, if you learned something too, let us know and we can learn together.
Exactly. It's the Grow Club. So like we said, we're going to be growing in faith, growing in business, growing in just life in general. It's been I enjoyed today's pod.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like last week we weren't too happy with last week, so we were wrecked.
Oh, so tired. And even today we're really tired, but I feel energized now.
I feel energized.
Great.
I feel good. I feel happy. But yeah, it's been Mike. It's been
Jazz.
You guys have a great and blessed week, and
See you next week.
peace.